I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
Welcome to our today's video, where we'll be discussing a highly controversial topic, the innocence of the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Despite the numerous allegations and controversies surrounding his personal life, there are compelling reasons to believe that Michael Jackson was, in fact, innocent. Let's take a closer look at the facts and explore why. Michael Jackson faced two prominent child molestation cases during his lifetime. In 1993, a 13-year-old boy accused Michael Jackson of child molestation. The allegations included claims of inappropriate behavior and sharing a bed with the child. The case gained significant media attention and resulted in a criminal investigation. However, before the case went to trial, Jackson reached a financial settlement with the accuser's family. The terms of the settlement were confidential, and no criminal charges were filed against Jackson.
He's the one who got a settlement in the early 90s. Now, my understanding is the prosecutors tried to get him to show up, and he wouldn't. If he had, I had witnesses who were going to come in and say he told them it never happened, and that he would never talk to his parents again for what they made him say, and it turned out he had gone into court and gotten legal emancipation from his parents.
In 2005, Michael Jackson faced another highly publicized trial regarding child molestation allegations. This time, a different child and his family accused Jackson of sexually abusing him at his Neverland Ranch. The trial lasted several months and garnered extensive media coverage. Jackson vehemently denied all charges and maintained his innocence throughout the proceedings. Lack of concrete evidence. Many people are unsure if Michael Jackson is innocent or guilty because there isn't clear evidence to prove he did something wrong. Throughout his career, he faced multiple accusations of child abuse, which caused a lot of controversy. However, in his 2005 trial, he was found not guilty and was never officially convicted of any crime. The reason for the ongoing debate about Jackson's innocence is the lack of solid proof against him. The accusers made serious allegations, but the evidence they presented was not strong enough to support their claims. During the trial, Jackson's defense team presented evidence that contradicted many of the accusations and exposed flaws in the claims against him. The jury carefully examined the evidence presented during the trial and ultimately reached the verdict of not guilty on all charges. This outcome further reinforces the argument for Jackson's innocence. The fact that he was acquitted and not found guilty in a court of law holds significant weight in the discussion. Nevertheless, due to the high-profile nature of the case and the sensitivity of the subject matter, opinions remain divided. Some people continue to believe that Jackson was guilty despite the lack of concrete evidence or conviction, while others firmly maintain his innocence based on the court's decision. Motive for false accusations. When we examine the allegations against Michael Jackson, it is crucial to take into consideration the motives of the accusers. It becomes evident that some of them had financial motives or a history of making false accusations for monetary gain. Jackson's immense wealth and worldwide fame made him a prime target for those seeking to exploit his resources through extortion, lawsuits, or media attention. This raises significant doubts about the credibility of certain accusers and their true intentions. In several cases, it is important to note that the accusers' claims were contradicted by their own previous statements or actions. These inconsistencies further contribute to the skepticism surrounding their credibility and the reliability of their accusations against Jackson. When individuals make statements that are inconsistent with their prior claims or engage in actions that cast doubt on their veracity, it becomes increasingly difficult to accept their allegations at face value. Furthermore, because Michael Jackson's case received a lot of attention from the media and the public, it's possible that some people were motivated to make accusations against him for personal gain. The increased visibility of the case might have encouraged individuals to come forward with allegations, whether they were true or not, in order to gain publicity or money. It's important to consider the possibility that some accusers may have had hidden motives or were seeking opportunities when evaluating the credibility of the allegations. Inconsistencies and contradictions. The accusations against Michael Jackson have many differences and contradictions. Some accusers changed their stories multiple times, which makes it hard to know what really happened.
And Gavin was the one that asked him, "Could I call you Daddy?" And Michael said, "Of course." And so Star and Davelin calling him Daddy Michael. Very innocent and beautiful relationship.
Their testimonies were also found to be unreliable and not trustworthy. Moreover, there were situations where important witnesses disagreed with each other or were caught lying under oath. This makes it even more difficult to believe the accusations against Jackson. When people who are supposed to provide important information don't agree or are discovered to be dishonest, it becomes challenging to trust what they say. Jackson's legal team and supporters have pointed out these differences and contradictions as proof of his innocence. They argue that these problems make it hard to believe the accuser's claims.
The judge did something I've never seen happen in a case like this. With respect to 3 of those alleged 5 victims, they put on 3 guards who had worked at Neverland to say they saw these 3 people molested. And the 3 people they say they saw molested, they were my first 3 witnesses. They came in and said they were never touched.
By highlighting these issues, they want to show that the accusations against Jackson are not reliable and may be based on false or unreliable information. Jackson's charitable contributions and humanitarian work. It's worth noting that Michael Jackson was known for his philanthropic efforts and humanitarian work. Throughout his career, he donated millions of dollars to different charities. He supported causes like children's hospitals, disaster relief, and organizations that helped underprivileged children. He used his fame to bring attention to important issues like research and education about HIV/AIDS. It's hard to understand how someone who did so much to help children could be accused of hurting them. Many of Jackson's supporters say that his charitable work proves he cared deeply about children and that the accusations against him don't make sense. Jackson's philanthropy was a big part of his life, and it's important to consider it when thinking about the accusations against him. His supporters believe that his generosity shows that he genuinely loved and cared for children, which makes the accusations seem unbelievable. Previous legal settlements. Some people who criticize Michael Jackson bring up the fact that he settled out of court in a few cases where he was accused of child molestation. They argue that these settlements mean he must be guilty. However, it's important to understand that settling out of court doesn't automatically mean someone is guilty. Sometimes, settling is a decision made to avoid expensive and damaging legal battles and to protect a person's reputation, especially when they are famous like Jackson. It's also worth mentioning that settling out of court doesn't allow for a full investigation of the evidence and witnesses in a public trial. It also doesn't give a clear legal judgment of guilt or innocence. So, it's not solid proof that Jackson is guilty. We need to remember that settlements happen for various reasons, like avoiding bad publicity, emotional stress, or financial problems. They don't give a final answer about whether someone is guilty or not. Just because Jackson settled out of court doesn't mean he is automatically guilty. It doesn't provide a fair chance to properly examine the evidence or make a legal decision about whether he is innocent or guilty. While Michael Jackson faced numerous allegations of child molestation during his lifetime, there are compelling reasons to believe that he was innocent. The lack of concrete evidence, the motives for false accusations, the inconsistencies and contradictions in the allegations, Jackson's extensive charitable contributions, and the nature of previous legal settlements all raise doubts about the validity of the accusations against him. There was nothing found to make the FBI and court believe he molested anyone. A maid for Michael Jackson received $20,000 more than she annually earned at the time to lie about seeing Jackson showering at Neverland with a kid. Later on, she admitted in court that this never even happened. More of these accusers, along with their kids, lied for money but then later admitted that Michael never molested them.
So when that happens, I think we were able to effectively take all this and say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you can't believe these prosecutors. You can't believe their case. You know, they'll say anything to try and win.
In June 2005, the jury found Michael Jackson not guilty on all counts, including charges of child molestation, conspiracy, and providing intoxicants to a minor. The verdict emphasized the prosecution's failure to provide sufficient evidence to prove Jackson's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's important to note that while Jackson was acquitted in the 2005 trial, the allegations and controversies surrounding his personal life continued to cast a shadow over his reputation.
The media worldwide were out to get Michael Jackson.
The kind of copy that his being convicted, remanded to jail, the build-up to a sentencing, which would have been the biggest sentencing in world history, was something they wanted. You know, this was big, big business. They were doing everything they could to spin a conviction.
The impact of these cases on Jackson's legacy and public perception remains a topic of debate and discussion. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give a like and share it, and let me know your thoughts in comments.